Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to the video, welcome to my garage. So starting with this video, I'm going to start back into working on Mauler 100%. Reason is, ratchet here is pretty much 99% done. However, now that I'm switching to the CV rear axles, I've got the final components ordered and they just so happen to be on a 20-week wait list. So that's probably gonna put ratchet up on blocks here for about 5 months. I'm not just gonna sit by idle while I'm waiting on the axles to show up. So I'm gonna take ratchet and I'm gonna kinda slide him off to the side here while I'm waiting on those axles. In that time, because that's probably gonna push him to springtime, I would think, before I'm getting to take him out and beat on him. So in those 5 months, I'm gonna try to crank on Mauler as much as I can because I really wanna get him built with that final chassis. So in order to start really rocking on Mauler, because there's not really a ton that I need to buy for Mauler because I already have most of the parts. I do need steel to start building the chassis. I don't have that yet. I'm hoping to grab that this week. I do need to get the body panels prepped and ready to go. In a previous video, you guys saw me cut them apart from the body, but I haven't gone any farther than that. I need to clean up the edges, and I think I'm gonna slap some primer on them just so that they all look the same color. All right, so I'm gonna do an audio on this part for 2 reasons. Number 1, so that I can give you guys some specific details as to what I'm doing here. Number 2, it was so windy outside, there's so much wind noise on the camera when I was filming this that the audio's unusable. What I'm doing here is when I plasma cut the body apart, it was a rough cut, and not only was it a rough cut, but it wasn't close to the body since I was just kind of chopping it in place and trying to get the pieces separated. I knew that for the final product, I wanted the cut lines to be a lot closer to the body itself. So the first thing I did is I'm just running around with the plasma cutter and taking off large chunks. You know, anything that would just take far too long to grind. And then as you can see, I'm running around with a grinder with a flapper wheel on it. And I'm really just trying to get everything ground, I guess, as smooth as I can. Like the rim here, I'm able to grind this all the way down to the body. Some of the edges here, you know, there's still like maybe a 1/16 of the edge sticking up, depending on how big it was to start with. But with the flapper wheel there, I'm able to get it much, much lower and smooth it out, which is the big thing. I'm going to build the chassis right up to this body, so I want to be able to bring the roll cage right up to it. So if I had a big edge hanging there, it wouldn't look good at all. So basically, I'm just trying to clean up all these edges. And it's actually going really well. This stuff grinds. I mean, it's not very thick metal, so when you're hitting it with the flapper wheel like that, you can chow it down pretty quick. And actually, the finished product was actually quite nice. Now this is making a bit of a mess. You can even see some of it building up on the concrete right now, but as you'll see at the end of this, I'm just gonna hose everything down to clean the concrete off. Now this body had some threaded rivet nuts in the rear for that aluminum wing that I use with the taillights and all that, and then up in the front it had some threaded rivet nuts for the light bar that I used to run on there. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using those or not on the new chassis, so I don't want to, if those rivet nuts were there, I wouldn't be able to run bars in that spot, so I wanted to make sure that those weren't there, and then if I do end up using them, I'll just put them back in. What I'm doing here is I'm just sandblasting it, but I'm not sandblasting it to clean it. My sandblaster isn't big enough for that, nor is my air compressor, but I'm using it just to kind of clean up any crud that was left from actually when it was a Volkswagen. So it's just good for cleaning out the edges. And now you just vacuuming up all the sand from the sandblaster. What I didn't want to just lean it up on its side, because the edges here, I think they're kind of open, and all that sand would go in there, and then for the rest of my life, this thing would be dropping sand wherever you went. So I wanted to vacuum that up and clean it up pretty good before I stood it up. And this is, now that I got it cleaned up, I'm going to pick it up and bring it inside. I think this steel body, the steel roof, this thing has to weigh 35 pounds maybe, which is interesting because the fiberglass piece that I made from it weighs, I think it was 8 pounds. You can pick up the fiberglass one with one hand, no problem. And this steel one is, you got to use 2 hands. It's a significant weight difference. And then this is just me now that I'm done. You know, the dogs are always out here. I'm always out here. I want this concrete to be as clean as possible. So whenever I'm done with working on something out here, I always hose it off just so that it's as clean as can be. And then now I'm just tack welding together the jig that I brought up from the basement. You can see I've got clamps. I squared everything up, clamped it in place, and then I'm just putting some what I would call heavy duty tacks on there. I'm not getting carried away, because when I'm done with this, I'll probably grind out these tack welds and carry it back down into the basement. So I don't want to make it too permanent, but I want it to be strong enough that it holds itself square while I'm welding up the new base. Then I'm just going to take the clamps off here, hit the tack welds with a wire brush just to clean them up a little bit. And then it's got the leveling legs, which is just threaded rod that goes in here, just so that when I'm starting to assemble the pieces onto this jig, I like to make the jig perfectly flat. That way you can put a level on pieces as you're squaring them up and stuff. And I can't do that off the garage floor because it's not perfectly flat. All right, so let me show you what I'm trying to do here. If you look at the edge here, I've cleaned that up, and I mean, there's still an edge there, but you know how the plasma cutter just gives you a nasty hacksaw edge? So I went with the flapper wheel and I cleaned all that stuff up. So that's much nicer. The intention here is to use this roof. I want to do like I did here, where the roof is just going to be basically a shell, and I'm going to have the tube chassis that comes right up to it. So when I'm putting together Mauler, this is going to have a tube that's going right up to it. So I want to have this as smooth as possible, which I'm real happy with that. That's real smooth, and that's not going to be a problem. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. This is more of a transition from me going from working on Ratchet to actually commit to starting the build on Mauler. I'm actually pretty frustrated that I've got to set Ratchet to the side for about 20 weeks, but there's literally nothing I can do for that. I mean, if there's anybody to blame, it's myself, because I thought these U-joint axles were going to work. Clearly on this application they didn't, and by me trying to, at the very last minute, switch to the CV axles, that's what's costing me all of this time. It's costing a lot of time to actually get the axles, but that's because they're totally custom. And this company isn't just sitting there waiting for me to call in my order. You know, there's plenty of other orders in front of me. So that's frustrating, but it is what it is. It will give me a good opportunity to switch over, start busting my butt on Mauler, and then whenever these axles do show up, hopefully I can just install them, and then weather permitting, because that's probably going to be springtime, weather permitting, I can then get Ratchet out there and really beat the crap out of them. But regardless, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hope it's helping you with whatever you might be working on, or possibly just giving you some entertainment. And I hope to see you on the next video. Take care.